of having a judiciary without judges, of having a legal system without judges, and the impossibility of giving justice to people in that system. The magnificence of the struggle on the streets shows us that we have to achieve things actually outside the legal system as well as inside. Inside in the sense that we do cases and we fight cases and so on. But it is struggle that will change India. And if you don't mind me saying so, although I'm a lawyer, it is when lawyers take the law into their own hands and social organizations and women take the law into their own hands and really go beyond the frontiers of law and break the law a little bit if you need to break the law, and really do things that are unorthodox, which people will say, oh, they're really crossing the line. Only then will Indians really be able to understand, Indian men be able to understand what it is that, brings about change. I was saddened actually to see the initiative shift very quickly from the agitation on the streets to lawyers and judges and, reports and so on. It was inevitable, I suppose. But I told somebody I would have preferred that we sat on the streets of Delhi with hundreds and hundreds of people around us, thousands of women, agitated women around, and then perhaps draft the bill on the streets of Delhi where the agitation actually took root, rather than shift the power of that, decision-making process to 2 or 3 individuals sitting in some, cloistered place and drafting a statute. And then continue the agitation as the bill drafting took place and so on. I don't mean to discredit what has happened in any way. I think it was marvelous. But a time must come in this country, and I'm beginning to feel this is increasingly so. A time must come in this country where really we take the law into our own hands, where really we break the law if necessary, where agitations and acting in a non-conformist way is the correct way of doing things, rather than pleading with this useless government to make laws and to improve its statute and so on. That courage must come to us. We have the courage, but that courage and awareness and perception must come to us. That we will get nothing. I have practiced now in the Supreme Court for 12 years. I can tell you with absolute certainty. Although the Supreme Court does some remarkable things, social change, fundamental change is not possible. It is not possible unless actions take place on the street. In a remarkable combination of actions on the street and perhaps some kind of legal action as well. It is that combination which will bring us victory. And it is that not conforming with what they call, proper practices and proper ways of behaving that will bring change into this country. It is a terrible mess, I think, that we are in the city of Delhi. I heard the Delhi Commissioner of Police say, it is a perception. Nice person, she's a nice person personally. And I believe she works with many of you and she helps you out it is a perception. But in this line of work, perception is everything. If ordinary people perceive the police as being tyrannical, then they are tyrannical, because the people's perception is invariably accurate. One more thing. I made a suggestion, and this is the last, and I must stop. I made a suggestion, and I said, no matter what laws you have, the pivot of the criminal justice system is your police force. It's the center of the criminal justice system. My perception, and I think this is the perception of 90% of people from India, is that the police force is an organized body of crime. Criminals in uniform. I don't think the people of India have any doubts. I don't think the villagers or the Dalits or the Adivasis or the slum dwellers or the poor laborers, unorganized workers have any doubt. The police force is a large body of organized crime. No matter what law you make, you put the implementation of law in the hands of that discredited body of individuals. And I made a suggestion, but it was sort of looked at derisively. I said the time has come really to purge the police force of these criminal elements. Half this police force in this country deserves to be sacked on the spot. The sexual harassers, the tormentors, the real estate dealers, drug peddlers, the gun runners, the torturers, the bribe takers, the This large body, 50% of this police force.
80%.
Or 80% of the police force. 80% of this police force really deserves to be. Now, it was laughed at, and I said, all right, my suggestions are generally rather excessive. But I was thinking that South Africa in 1990, after the apartheid movement and the black government came to power, the South African government took it upon itself to purge that racist body of torturers, the South African police, to get rid of these guys, to get rid of as many as possible and induct fresh cases into the police force. And they did it somewhat, let's say at a 50, 60, 70% level, so that today you could say in South Africa that institutionalized torture is a thing of the past. Individual cases, perhaps a little slapping here, slapping there, but institutionalized torture may be a thing of the past. We need to do that here. We need to cleanse this police force of this kind of rotten apples. And I got a little depressed in the earlier sessions when I heard some of our colleagues in response to the DCP's very aggressive positioning, saying that, well, we should not be, there are good people and there are a few rotten apples and, nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah.
This is a body that has taken India down into the drains. I hold it principally responsible for the state of affairs and the insecurity that women feel, not only in Delhi but rest of the country. Police reform and radical police reform, not the kind that I'm hearing now or the kind that's going on in the Supreme Court, that kind of cosmetic police reform, but radical, tough police reform, where we get rid of these criminal elements, is core to the security of women. Can you imagine, and let me end now with this, can you imagine what it would be if you got rid of half your police force and inducted young women with bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, young women who have some kind of idealism that they want to change it and make it safe for women. Can you imagine that infusion of fresh blood and that deletion of that cancerous part goes out and young women come in? What a change it would be in this country. So think bigger than what we think. The Verma Committee Report will run its course. The UAPA government will carry on this masquerade for a long, long time. They're quite used to handling these kind of situations. This will go on now. I think we have reached the maximum potential of this line of action. We have to think now outside the box.